Well, hey everybody, it's Mike over here at Growtopia, and it is GrowTober. So that means we still have more stuff that we can grow in October. So don't think the season is over. I'm in 7A, and what I'm doing today is actually I got a couple things I'm going to show you on today's video. One thing is I got one of my seed trays, which also works very nice as a transport tray. And what I'm going to be doing with this tray is actually putting in the plants that I'm going to be bringing inside the house because, well, as I start looking further and further into this growing season, about halfway through October, I'm looking at nights that are down in the 40s. And there's a lot of different things that I'm growing out here that aren't going to survive too many nights in the 40s. And also, I'm not using them for other stuff as well because the stuff that they were being used for, such as my basil as protectants, there's nothing in the bed, and the beds have kind of got a little wonky. What do I mean by that? Well, like certain things have died off for no reason. But what I do see over here is this weird prickly guy that I'm not sure where he's coming from, but he is very hairy. So, but what I do see over here is one of my scallop squashes, so I'm pretty excited with that. That's pretty dope. And I got gloves on because I am getting tired of getting weird thorns and stuff in my hands. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with my basil that's right here. And the reasoning for the tray is so that I can put everything in it, and then I'm going to transplant it and put it inside I'm going to transport it into the nursery, then we're going to transplant it. So first thing I'm going to do is just going to pull this soil back, and I'm just going to go down with my hand and just go down deep. Now, being that I planted all my stuff with pods, everything comes up very nice and clean. So as you can see the nice root structure on here, and you can see still see that it's actually in its pot, which is why I suggest for a lot of gardeners out there who are doing stuff from seed just like myself, you want to go for the peat pods because everything comes up nice. There's one. Okay, that's a purple, these are purple carrots. And switch that thing. Rid of you. Here's another basil. This one's actually on this side, you can't really see it. I'm just gonna go down and grab it. Same thing came out. You're gonna find a lot of weird bugs and worms and stuff in your soil. Don't be scared, don't be surprised. It's called Mother Nature. Those are all the things that keep your soil nice and healthy. We got another basil over here. Wow, I got a lot of basils in this one bed. See, the thing was, I started planting basils. I started planting a ton of basil plants, and a lot of this stuff didn't take off. So the first thing I did was I started planting more basil. And then the basil started finally taking off, and now I have an abundant supply of basil. Basil is not a bad thing to have abundant supply of. It's just a comical observation. And we'll go for one more. Excuse me, plant. This one's down deep. There we go. And here's our last basil. Now I got basils around the rest of the tomato plants that are growing right now, so I'm just going to leave those, but I'm going to just grab these guys for now. Basically, you want to try to move as much as you can at different time periods so you're not getting stuck moving a ton at one time. The next thing that we're actually going to head over to and grab is my eggplants. So the eggplants you can actually bring inside, and you actually don't have to do anything to them. You don't have to overwinter them, just like the peppers. You could literally just grab your eggplants like this one, and because I started it so late, that's why it hasn't done anything. So I'm going to bring it inside and let it continually grow all winter long, and then come spring I could take it back outside. A little dirtier than I wanted it to be. Alright, I got one more. Alright, here's my last eggplant. Now these are Black Beauty eggplants. So if you ever had a Black Beauty eggplant, you know that it comes out really long and thick. Okay. Oh, getting old, man. My knees don't want to work anymore. Oh. All right, let's head over to the next bed we have over here. We have our melons and our spaghetti squashes over there. Ain't doing much at all. But what we do have, if I don't trip over my words, is we do have a celery that I was having issues with. And for some weird reason, I don't know why, the only thing I could really think of is that there was too much stuff planted on top of it and it just wasn't doing good at all. So I'm just going to come down here and grab it. And you could see that this celery has no bag on it. The reason why was because when I planted this piece of celery, I planted it as a seed and it got a nice root ball on it. So it's going to get replanted the same way. Okay, and clean it up a little bit and it will help stimulate it to grow better. Ugh. Oh, getting old. Getting old, man. Sucks. Some cabbages that are in there. Okay. Like I said, there's other stuff back here I'm just going to leave for now. But what I do have that I'm going to come in here and grab right now. I was like, what the hell was that thing I was looking at? Let's see, stick you over here in the tomato. Okay, so I have these Tiny Tims that are over here. Now, Tiny Tims are a determinate tomato, meaning that they only grow to a certain size, which is 12 inches by 6 inches. And yet again, because I did plant these guys really late, they kind of just, they're not really doing anything right now. And because tomatoes are self-pollinating, I don't have to worry about bees or anything pollinating them or using a paintbrush on them or even a Q-tip. So they'll just grow as is into a tomato, and I'll have tomatoes throughout the winter. There's one. There's my next one. The bag's kind of falling off it. That's fine. I can take the bag off right now. It's good as is. I got another Tiny Tim over here. Grab this guy. Another nice little Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim. Whoop. Cool, man. The tray is filling up. That is awesome. What we have here is some delicate squash. And the delicate squash, hopefully they'll be doing good. But I'm going to leave them alone, obviously. There's no reason for me to bring them in because yet they're going to need pollination. And for me to bring them in is pointless. But what I do have that I am going to bring in for the winter for its first season, and then it stays outside from here on out, is my okra. Now, I had watched one guy who had talked about okra, and he said if you have the ability to bring it in for its first year, it's the best thing to do. Now, this thing is taking off like a weed. It was really small for like a couple weeks, and now look at it. So that one's going to go in as well. Okay, here's my next okra. Another nice big one. And I got one more okra. Actually, I'm lying. I got another one. I got this one. Wow, I'm using every single spot on this tray. This tray is getting packed. And that's it. Look at this beautiful group of plants that we are actually going to be bringing inside and overwintering. And there's more to come inside, but this is the first amount of crops. I do have more basil that has to come in. I think I got parsley that has to come in as well, and I think that's about it. I do have another Tiny Tim that's in there with a pepper plant. I'm just going to leave them in there for now, but as we get closer to about middle October, where they're saying about 40s at night, I'm going to grab those guys as well, because the greenhouse stays a lot warmer, and the greenhouse right now is at 70 degrees. Very similar to the outside temp. I checked it on most nights when it dipped down into the mid 50s. there's 65 in there. And if you're wondering, yes, I always make sure the thermometers are calibrated. The best way to do that is you take either another thermometer or a digital thermometer and you put it on your thumb and you get your body temp, and then you stick your thumb on the bottom of the thermometer. And if the thermometer goes up to where that's supposed to be at, you're good. The next trick is also you take an ice cube. Now, ice cube's going to melt, so this is going to be tricky. Put the ice cube over it and the temperature should drop. If that works, then you're all golden. I know it's kind of a crazy way of doing things, but hey, I do it and it works for me. And if it works, right? All right, that is it for outside. Oofa. I've only been home from work for like barely a minute off the gardening. All right, let's head over to the nursery. Things are becoming spectacular in here. See if my helper wants to come and help me. I know she was laying in the bed, but sooner or later she'll come over and help. Ooh, let's take this jacket off. Things are getting hot and heavy in here. Ugh. First, I'm wearing like the tightest shirt under the sun. Get rid of this and I'll be right back. The next stage is fun. Alright, there we go. I'm wearing a shirt that I'm wearing that when I used to be really fat. I used to be barely able to fit in it, and now it's like a parachute. It's crazy. Although it makes me look skinnier, it makes me look poofy. Doesn't really matter. Who cares? So now what are we gonna do? Well, first thing we're gonna do is we want to make sure that we space everything out evenly, and we're not putting too many things into too many compromising positions. It's amazing, I said that right the first time. Now I've lost my tray. It's behind me. Okay, good. So let's make some room of my many things. So as you guys saw, the amount of basil we're bringing in on this section, so things are going to get a little interesting and probably more complicated than they need to be. But the first thing I want to start off with is I'm going to bring all my basils down such. That's not a basil. I don't know what that is. It's an eggplant. I'm looking at it from behind. So I got 4 basils, right? Now, a basil plant by itself, they're kind of small. And then they start looking like me. They poof out. So the best thing you want to do is when you're bringing your plants in and getting them ready for, can you grab me the green snippers, please? When you're bringing them in and you want to start overwintering them and getting them ready to grow all winter long. So there's a lot of cool things out there that you don't know are perennials. Now, the reason why I brought the okra in, I know I'm going to bounce around back and forth a lot, but the reason why I wanted to bring the okra in, because I'm also putting it someplace else. Thank you. So, being that the okra grows to about 12 feet, and it grows like a weed, and it grows like asparagus, where the asparagus is currently sitting, if anybody's ever seen that video, go back to where I did with that. If you want to do it that way, I'd say go for it, like I did, but I'm going to change it up now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 2 small beds, and I'm thinking like 2 feet by 2 feet or 4 feet by 4 feet, not sure, gotta play with the area. And I'm going to have 2 beds. One's for okra, one's for asparagus. Now, yes, of course, everybody out there is going to say, well, your asparagus, when they get going, they're going to go down and under the wood and blah, blah, blah. You're right, they are. But at least it keeps them in one spot for the time being. And when I put the wood chips around it, it keeps the weeds down, because currently all I see is asparagus, 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 and random leaves. And in the beginning of starting all this and data logging it and posting it on YouTube, I had spread tons and tons of crimson and clover seeds all over the place. So I don't know if those little leaves are crimson and clover or they're weeds. So the best way to delete all of that is my plan that I have come up with today, because my brain never stops thinking about growing crap, is I'm going to be planting 3 different types of flowering plants. I'm going to be planting bulbs that are spring, summer, and fall. That gives me a whole season of beautiful flowers that bring in the wonderful pollinators. So I don't have to worry about all the little miscellaneous crap. And then all my other seeds that I have, I'm going to just plant them in areas where I know what the hell they are. So let's get to this. So the first one, we're going to start off with one of our big basils we have here. And this is a really nice one. And like I said, because they get a little bushy, you want to make sure that they are not completely on top of each other. Now, of course, these pots really aren't great, but these pots are temporarily. That's why I was never an English major. They're only going to be for just probably this winter, and then they'll go into something bigger. And I'll probably just do is, because they're always going to be in this like bag style, I'll just put them all in one big pot or separate pots, and then I'll have to knock down the wall and bump the house out that way, you know, start growing in the attic. So I have some soil that's behind you, and I'm going to grab that right now, and I'm going to make a mess everywhere, because that's what I'm very good at. I'm going to take these out and put some soil in the bottom of them off camera so you can't see what I'm doing, using my mystery soil like everybody else does. Of course, my soil looks like soil instead of looking like the little white balls in it. Most of my soil is a mix of the bag soil that I used at Kellogg's and what came out of the ground. Because that's the best way for your plants, to be honest with you, is to grow off of its natural soil. Because after you take it out of these pods and then you transplant it back into the garden, it's going to have a little shell shock if you have different soil and different nutrients. So the best thing I like to do is I like to take a 50-50 mix of the Kellogg's bag soil that I have, and then mix it with the natural soil, or the soil that the plants came out of, which I did early on. I set all this up so that this wasn't a 30-hour video. And mix it all together so that when I go to take it from here back into the ground, it has no idea what I did to it. That's the mindset. Who knows if that's true or not. Okay, so take this guy. Mr. Rudy over here. So the reason for the clippers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy out, and I'm just going to do him over the bowl, and I'm just going to backfill him, just so he's got a nice amount of soil on top, and just pat it down nicely. Okay, so being he's done, I just want to go by and clean up the leaves on it. So anything that I see that needs to be trimmed back, anything that looks like it was about to go to flower, anything that looks like it just needs a little cleaning, it's a good time to do it now. Make sure you watch out where you cut it. You don't cut it where the growth is. If you got like a stem like this, I'm just going to cut right above the leaf. And you're going to have new little tiny little leafy guy coming out of the corner. So unlike the tomatoes, you don't trim those off. You don't trim off the tomatoes either. I did that following too many people, and wow, what a horrible bunch of advice that was. But being I've done this all season long with these basil, it's fine. And being that a lot of these leaves are eaten, I'm not going to really do anything with them. I'm just going to drop them back in the tray, and that's it. I'm going to take the next one and do the same thing down the line. And so this video doesn't turn into a 4-hour video. Basically, this is what I'm doing as I go down the line. I can even prune them before, I don't know why I keep doing that. I could prune them before I even put them in the pots. Makes my life a little easier. Just clean them up a little bit. Okay. Just like that. A little too much soil in these pots. Just a little. Just a little. Not too much soil on the bottom. That's another one. And almost forgot with the tags. I'm just going to slip the tags into the back. I know what they are, but I like to keep the tags to go with them. Follows their tracking of them. Here's another one. This guy looks pretty good. Don't have to do anything. There's no flowers on top either. Just take them bag, root and all. Stick it inside, push it down a little bit, backfill with soil. Like such. Okay. Such. Grab the other tag for the basil. Hither. Starting to look good. I don't know about you. Nice little tray, nicely evenly spaced. You also kind of want to keep track of how many trays you have or how many trays you're going to use, especially if you have stuff that you want to start growing as time goes on. Now this is going to take me a while and I'm not going to bore you guys with this, but I am actually just going to transition really quick into something else. Everything's going to get planted exactly the same way. These trays, what I'm going to end up doing with them is I'm actually going to put them in here, which is this section right here, and I'm not going to do any heat mats with them at all. It's just going to be with a grow light, watering, and that's it. And then also I have a fan. As I showed you once before, there's fans on here, and what's good with the fans is that the fans bring air circulation in, so it kind of gives them, because this room can get a little stagnant. So what else is there to mention? Well, I got some cool stuff as well that I'm just going to show you, and you guys will see it fully assembled in the next video. Is I got these little shelf hanging, and I'll drop the link description in below for your plants. Now they look flimsy at first, and trust me, I felt the same way, but they come with a bracket. They're all suction cupped, and you can stick the suction cup like that against the window, and hopefully they don't fall off the glass. But basically, I'm going to optimize my growing area by using the window. And what's good with that is I could put certain things on there. Now, of course, I don't want to put these guys on there because, first starters, they're not going to fit with the tray. And because these little pots that I have are not watertight, they have holes in the bottom of them. Yes, I could put them in like little containers and stuff and then put them on top. It was kind of a mindset or a thought I had. I might play with that. You know, I was thinking maybe like a water bottle. If I cut the water bottle at a certain height, maybe they can sit inside of it, or I could find some miscellaneous thing laying around the house I could use. But we're not going to worry about that right this second. But what we do want to, what I am going to go over is what we got growing on in October, or as I've been saying, Growtober, right? So not only do I have to do transplanting, but I also got to update the Bible on that growing page that you guys saw. And the reason why is because we have some life. Now, I planted, now being that today is October 1st, was originally the day that I was going to start planting everybody. But I didn't. I started on Sunday, and it's only Tuesday, and we already have some growth growing on in here. I mean, the lettuce, the red lettuces, they're looking good. The kale is looking good. We don't have all of them have sprouted, but I am going to put notation that, okay, red lettuce, I got 1, 2, 3 bags that popped. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 bags of kale, and 2 bags that haven't done anything. The spinach hasn't done anything, and the other side of the spinach hasn't done anything either. So I'm going to go down that line, and then what I always like to do is when I check everybody, I like to give them a little spritz of water. And what I mean by a spritz of water, and I'm going to show you guys once I figure out what I do with the water bottle, is I don't like to oversaturate anything. So because I'm not using the grow mat and only grow lights with these guys, I don't really need a lot of water. And when I say a spritz, I'm talking about spritz. 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Simple. It still keeps them moist, but it doesn't watering doesn't overwater them. Jesus, what is going on today? Long day at work, that's why. So, and that's not even just the lettuces. I got, what else do we got that's growing as well? We also have the radishes. Radishes. We have radishes growing right now. If I can carefully pull this one bag out, you can see the amount of radishes that are growing inside this bag. And the bags still feel damp to the touch, but I just want to give them a little bit of water as I go along. And what else do we got for the month of October? For the rest of the month of GrowTober, and I'm not really putting out too much, is we got some turnips and nothing yet on the Swiss chard, but we definitely got some life on some of the turnips. You can see a little green guy in there, so that's good. And basically everybody that's in here needs to be around basically 65-70 degrees, and they'll be fine because it's 70 degrees in here right now, so they don't need the heat mat. They just get the grow lights watered when they need it. It's really simple and easy from there. One of the things I've been having issues growing is rosemary, and I'm not going to do that today, but I will show you down the line. Is with these window trays, I'm going to plant some rosemary in pods, and then figure out how I'm going to stick them up there so they don't soak the whole area out, and see if I can get some rosemary growing, because apparently rosemary takes almost a full year for it to get really anywhere. And what you want to do is, it apparently is it likes more of the drier side of things than the wetter side. So that means if I'm going to be putting them outside and they're going to go in the greenhouse no matter what, because the greenhouse I can control the watering. The greenhouse I could be like, okay, we're going to water zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but not 6, 7, and 8. So, and for my snipping, my tomato snipping, I am not seeing anything yet. Well, maybe. It's really hard to see. I don't know if the camera's going to be able to focus in that deep, but if you could focus. I don't want to take them out, but I see very tiny hairs coming out. I see hairs coming out of this plant, and the hairs are usually the roots, but I see little tiny hairs coming out of the stems. So let's see. That's a yellow plum tomato. So we'll see if that actually works. Putting it in water and it will actually grow. See a lot of people do it on YouTube over an elapsed video, so. Who knows if it's real or not? They just replace it every time. My banana. Boing off. My banana's doing really good, which is really interesting because I never watered into there, and for some weird reason there is water in there. Don't know how, but for some weird reason it has a way of accumulating water. I don't know how, but it has another little leaf coming up. And the lemon and the lime, the lemon and the lime, I keep calling them backwards, but the lime is more lime colored. They're doing good. They're getting plenty of sunlight. Leaves are all nice and good and healthy. They don't need watering yet. Sunflower I was messing around with, and it's almost time I could take out some of the sunflower seeds and figure out what I'm going to do with them. So anyway guys, I'm going to get back to doing all this miscellaneous stuff in here that I got to get done today. So I hope you guys liked this video of first day of GrowTober over here at Growtopia. I got a lot of stuff to do. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Get out there and grow something. Bring your stuff in. Keep it growing all winter long. You could have fresh basil. You could have fresh celery. Parsley is going to be coming in as well. And parsley can go down as low as 20 degrees or even 0, I think it was. They could survive. So you could have parsley running very far into the winter and then yank it out of the garden, bring it inside, and enjoy it. So anyway guys, that's it for today's video. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Get out there and grow something. This is Mike at Growtopia. Later.